Hello, Sarah Sabin, executive and team coach here with the Leading in the Modern Way video interview series. And I am thrilled to have with me today Mark Baker, who is founder and director of Claremont Consulting. Mark, welcome to the show. And would you like to introduce yourself briefly to my listeners?
Yes, hi Sarah. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm Mark Baker. As Sarah said, founder and director of Claremont Consulting. We're a global talent solutions business. Recruitment is probably the more common phrase we're known as, but we provide a number of different solutions around talent acquisition for clients globally. We set up 21 years ago, and we initially started with a small office actually started in a spare room at home with a co-founder, moved to small office in London, have subsequently grown into larger offices over time in London, and we've also opened offices in Hong Kong, the US, just recently, the last 12 months in Mexico, and we also have a number of entities dotted across Europe, Germany, Sweden, Slovakia, and Portugal.
Wow, congratulations on global domination, first of all.
Not quite, but hopefully we'll get there soon.
Yeah, hopefully I'll speak to you in 4 years and you'll be like, we're in every country in the world. Um, so, Mark, obviously you and your company have been around for 21 years. So I'd love to know more about your journey and learnings over the course of running the company for that period of time.
Sure. I mean, one of the biggest challenges, oddly enough, being a recruitment business ourselves, has always been to hire the right people. Recruitment is and I'm sure other industries will say the same about their own sectors and the same their industries, but it's a very tough job. It's very there's two real focuses to it. It's a very sales focused industry, but it's also very service focused. So we've had to focus on both those elements, and it's the challenge has always been, and I'm sure many other recruitment business owners will agree with me, has been to hire the right staff for ourselves. It's probably easier to do it for clients, and the types of we're very much a tech focused recruitment business. So knowing and establishing where that talent is proved to be sometimes easier than it is to actually find the right people for ourselves and immerse them into the culture that we've built. So I would say it's probably one of the biggest challenges we faced at the beginning when we first set the business up, but also to this day. It's hiring for ourselves has always been a major challenge.
Mm. Why do you believe that it is that it's easier to hire for other companies than it is for yourself? And I suppose this might come down to, well, it's easy to give advice. It's not so easy to take your own advice. But why do you think that is?
Um, Probably backtrack slightly. So I'm not necessarily saying it's easier. It feels it sometimes, but I think particularly with the sector we're in tech, that a candidate will have particular skill, or the client will have a particular need for certain skill sets and expertise, and those from a technical perspective, a candidate will either have those or they won't, or they have the opportunity to learn them. The characteristics for building a successful career in recruitment, as I said earlier, are very different. They're much more around personality, it's much more around attitude and aptitude. They don't come with a bag of tools, if you like, of skills and expertise. It's it's very much learn on the job. It's very much being resilient, and it's very much being able to sort of fit into the business, and as I say, the culture that we've created as well. So there's many different elements that have made it quite difficult for us to for hiring ourselves.
Mm. Well, you're obviously doing something right, Mark, because I did see that you were voted the best company to work for in the UK in 2023. So I'd love to know more about the culture that you've built that has enabled you to get that accolade.
Well, we're very pleased with that. We do enter a number of awards, and have been successful with those for different different businesses, and different brands have put the awards together, and we have won a number of the best ones, or best companies to work for. This, the one you mentioned, we're particularly proud of, and we've actually find out again this week, actually, if we've been voted or been successfully voted for another award with them. And we're particularly pleased with this one because it comes from anonymous employee surveys. So the companies send out the surveys to the employees. They're all anonymous, so they don't have to put their names to them. And it's quite quite an extensive question. I think there's 80 questions on there that they have to talk about their experiences within the business, the support and level of support, the training, the collaboration they get with not just colleagues but management. So it's quite a lengthy process to fill out a questionnaire by all accounts, and yeah, we're really pleased that it's not panel based or awarded by a judging panel. It's all completely done by employee surveys.
So just to draw out some of the key points there, support, collaboration, asking your employees for feedback, which is always a good practice, regardless or not, whether it's for an
Yes.
award,
Yeah.
and also good management as well. Are those things that you have deliberately entrenched in your culture over the past 20 years?
Absolutely. So from the sort of myself and the co-founders and the senior leadership team, we're very very focused on strong leadership, basically, where we encourage, motivate, inspire, and challenge the team to produce the best work. So as I said, we're very there's two main elements to the businesses. There is a sales focus to it, but also service, and it's how we sort of differentiate our business from many others is the level of service that we provide to clients. So we feel, the pushing the team, motivating them, inspiring them to produce their best work really helps, and it helps connect the team together as well. They're all working towards a sort of common purpose. There's a real strong bond between them, and it really helps with sort of both internal and external effective communication, and really helps them in the day-to-day role.
So what I'm drawing out of that is this sense of a shared purpose or mission.
Absolutely,
and
yes.
Also strong bonds within the team. And what's interesting about that is that often sales environments are very cutthroat and competitive. So it's really interesting, and maybe this is the thing about balancing sales and service. It's really interesting to learn that both can coexist, that a team can work together functionally to achieve all the results that you obviously need to achieve for you to operate as a business, but they can do that without stepping over each other to get to the next rung.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, you're right, sales can be cutthroat. Recruitment had a very notorious reputation many years ago for having for being a cutthroat industry. But what we've looked to foster with the collaboration is to make it more of a team focus rather than individual. So yes, people are bonus and commission focused. We have a number of incentives we run, but we where possible, as much as possible, we make those team based. So we do a lot around, sounds a little bit cliche, but a lot around team bonding, whether that's just days out, evenings out, nights out with the team. We encourage everybody to be involved. So it's not just individuals. And I would imagine, like most sales businesses, you have some people that flourish and others that not quite so, but that changes from month to month. So we put a real focus on the team effort and the team reward.
And I'm curious to learn if, say, one member of the team is struggling one month, what support do they get from other members of the team?
There they do, very much so. Lots of encouragement, lots of just sort of one-to-one interaction. I've stopped to say the word shoulder to cry on, but people will be there to put an arm around the shoulder and say, look, you may have had a tough month. I've been there before. I know how you're feeling. Essentially, don't give up. You know if you're doing the right things on a consistent basis, the rewards will come, and there'll be better days ahead, basically.
Yeah, and I think if I summarize that in one word, it's kind of that mentoring or peer-to-peer support within the
Yes,
team.
definitely. Yeah. So yeah, we have a structure with team leaders, but everybody, the sort of team environment, team spirit that we've created, everybody will pick somebody up if they're having a bad time, and they really appreciate that, and it sort of then replicates itself for them to do that further down the line if somebody else is in sort of not necessarily a bad place, but it needs somebody to have a sort of one-to-one mentoring session with them, whether that's a walk around the block or a coffee down the local coffee shop, or just a one-to-one in a meeting room. We've got a real environment where people are very, very collaborative, very advisory to each other.
Love that. And I think we've covered this a little bit, but I'd like to go into a little bit more depth on this. How do you personally define strong leadership?
Yeah, we did. I've covered a little bit earlier, didn't I? But it's being able to, again, a slight cliche, but lead by example. So we have in the London office, we have a setup where there's no management offices as such. We sit with the team there to be able to encourage them and motivate them, advise them, particularly newer members of staff. We can advise them on some of the conversations and meetings they may have with both clients and candidates, what they could have said, what they should have said. And it really inspires them to be able to listen to the senior management team actively doing the role they're doing, and being able to sort of learn from just by listening to some of the conversations that take place. And I feel with that environment as well, it does bring the team together, it does connect them, and as I said, it feels like there's a common purpose behind what everybody in the business is doing, and it's really helped to build relationships within the team as well, and that's really helped us in terms of effective communication, and just generally better people, being better all-rounded individuals, and having a better skill set as well.
So essentially, you are very much part of the team rather than separated from the team. And I mean, we could call it an
Yes.
open door policy, but you don't
Yeah.
obviously, if you're on the floor, you don't have a door. So it's like one step better, you're accessible and people know
Yes.
that they can approach you.
And I think it's important that they can, and feel that they can, and you're not sat in a glass office and not approachable. So yes, the metaphoric door is always open, but there isn't an actual door there. Literally just sit with them, and yeah, help, advise. They can ask for advice as well, and it works really well.
Okay, perfect. And I want to know actually how that works, right? Because there's only one of you, I think.
No,
So
there's two other co-founders
okay.
within the
So
business as well.
so how does that work with so many offices all over the place? Do you have someone that leads in each
We
office
have
that you're
someone,
based?
yes, who leads the teams in Hong Kong, in Mexico, in the US, and we also have a team that works on site with a client in an outsourcing arrangement. They're effectively led by the client, but we have a team leader in place that manages on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. And from your perspective and your leadership journey, how have you invested in your own leadership development, and what steps do you take to continue to grow and learn in your role?
That's a great question, because not many people actually do take a lot of time to invest in themselves. Um, and yeah, I haven't been on formal management or leadership training courses. In terms of investing in myself, we belong to a number of networking peer-to-peer groups, which I find invaluable. You're necessarily working alongside, but you can meet and gain advice from people who are in the same position as you. It can, I guess, it's tagged sometimes. It can be a lonely job at the top, and you do need somebody who's experiencing the same as you. And we get that from different network groups, network meetings, and it's very open and honest. Recruitment historically used to be very closed shop. People wouldn't talk about their success. Well, they'd probably talk more about their successes, but certainly wouldn't talk about their failures, or they wouldn't talk about what challenges or issues they've had, because it was deemed to be a weakness. But now the approach is very different. It's very open. It's very collaborative. People will help you out with any sort of question you have. So yeah, the meetings can be really informative, really helpful. But there's also WhatsApp and Slack groups that, again, people will take time out of their day to help you with any questions you've got. So certainly invested there. In personal time, I've sort of invested just time listening to sort of leadership podcasts, and just being able to pick up information and glean some sort of advice from some of those as well, from people who've been successful, not just in my industry, but others as well.
Yeah, I love that. And the peer-to-peer support is so invaluable
It is, yeah.
because you're right, a lot of people are like, well, it's lonely at the top. But when you're around other people going through the same thing, A, it makes you feel a lot less alone, and B,
Absolutely, yeah.
it can often offer clarity to you because you don't need to reinvent the wheel like all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do sometimes think, not sure, if this situation's arise, what should I do? And you can find from other people they've had exactly the same experience. A lot of the time, it's the advice you get is you're thinking it to yourself, that's what I would have done anyway. But you probably sometimes just need that prompt from somebody else to say yes. And it worked for me. It was successful, and it's a successful outcome to it.
Final question, Mark. If you could go back in time and give your 20-year-old self one piece of advice, what would that be?
That's another good question. It was a long time ago, being 20-year-olds. I think back then I was probably too worried about what the future held. I think I was probably too concerned that didn't have the right sort of expertise and skill sets to run a successful global business. And I think you just have to make that step sometimes and take the initiative and not be scared to do it. I think back then I probably would have thought, looking to the future, there's not a chance. I haven't got the sort of skills and the characteristics to do that. And they've obviously just evolved over time. So probably just not to be too worried about what the future holds. And just embrace any challenge that comes along, and see it for what it is. It's an opportunity to learn, and move on from there.
Yeah, and we can spend so much time in our heads worrying about things and overanalyzing things rather than getting into action. And action creates change, not being up in your head worrying about it.
Worrying about it, absolutely.
So yeah, thank you, Mark, for this conversation today. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome. My listeners, I hope that you've enjoyed this conversation as well. If you would like to be involved in the Leading in the Modern Way video interview series, please do reach out to me. Bye.